Do you wish you had a step-by-step process for influencing people? Maybe you want to drive more sales for your business or get your kids to eat their vegetables. In the book Methods of Persuasion by Nick Lenda, he describes this as a 7-step process which can be remembered by the acronym METHODS. Mold their perception, elicit congruent attitudes, trigger social pressure, habituate your message, optimize your message, drive their momentum, sustain their compliance. The first 4 steps should be taken before your request. Step 5 and 6 is for the request itself, while step 7 is to keep them doing the desired behavior. So let's get into more detail. Step 1. Mold their perception. Before your request, you'll want to change the lens through which your target sees the world. This can be done in 4 ways. 1. Priming. Did you know that mentioning words related to being old caused the participants in one study to walk slower when leaving the study? Or that showing a picture of a library made students quieter in another study? This works because knowledge is organized in semantic networks, and activating one node will trigger related nodes. 2. Anchoring. How likely are you to share this video? More or less than 90%. If your range for sharing this video was 40 to 60%, then you likely thought 90% was too much and adjusted down to your upper bound of 60%. If I instead had asked whether it was less than 10%, then you would have moved up to your lower bound of 40%. 3. Convey high expectations. This is like anchoring, but just applied to expectations. 4. The contrast effect. Can you share this video with 50 people? Oh, you don't want to? Well, can you at least click like then? Applying contrast in this way can make one option appear better because it's compared to a worse option. Step 2. Elicit congruent attitudes. When people's behavior and attitude doesn't match up, they experience cognitive dissonance. So when you want to ask your friend for $100, then start by asking, "Hey, do you mind sparing $10? And when he says, "Yes, of course," he will get the attitude of being someone who helps you, because that's what his behavior reflected. And of course he doesn't want cognitive dissonance. If you then ask, "Hey, do you mind sparing another $100? Then your friend will want to stay congruent with his new attitude of being someone who helps you. Step 3. Trigger social pressure. Here you can use all your social persuasion techniques. Offer them a gum and they'll want to return the favor because of the social norm of reciprocity. Reveal any similarities between you and your target to build rapport. Even better if the similarity is uncommon, like if you discover you're both huge fans of the children's show My Little Pony. Also, mirroring the body language without them noticing that you are consciously doing it can be a great way to build a rapport. And lastly, since most people want to follow social norms, you could take advantage of this. If you are a busking musician on the street, then putting some money in your hat before you start will make it seem like it's the norm to offer you money. Step 4. Habituate your message. Which image do you think you would prefer? An image of what you look like in the mirror, or an image of the way your friends see you? The mere exposure effect says that people tend to develop a preference for things they encounter often. Therefore, it's more likely that you prefer the way you look in the mirror, while your friends prefer to see you the way they always see you. Take advantage of this by exposing your target to the topic of your request often. If you want to go traveling with your husband, then weeks before asking him, you could leave travel brochures around the house and talk about the other times you've been traveling. Step 5. Optimize your message. The previous 4 steps were all for preparing, and now you can finally make your request. Keep in mind that after you've made this request, they'll either evaluate it systematically or mindlessly, and you'll need to present your request accordingly. If they evaluate your request systematically, they are more convinced by your arguments. You should tell all your best arguments at first and last, because that's what they will remember the best. But also mention some negative things in the middle to make it seem more realistic. If they evaluate your request mindlessly, they are more convinced by other things like aesthetics and the amount of information. If you are making a mindless decision about which toothpaste to buy, then you are more likely to buy the one that lists many benefits and are aesthetically appealing. Setting a time constraint or asking people when they are in a good mood can make them more likely to choose in this way. Step 6. Drive their momentum. This step is for sparking some motivation after you've made your request. Now imagine you helped your friend move into his new house and he offers you $10. How would you feel? Now imagine instead that you received a bottle of wine that you would both be sharing. In most cases, social incentives like buying a bottle of wine or giving praise are more powerful, because giving money is more likely to shift intrinsic motivation to external motivation. Step 7. Sustain the compliance. If you want your kids to eat vegetables, then you probably don't want it to be a one-time event. To sustain the compliance, you could make favorable associations by always playing their favorite songs in the background while they are eating the vegetables. To keep this video short, I've had to skip a lot of valuable information. The book explains even more strategies and goes more into depth about why these tactics work by explaining the science of behavior through many studies. There's a link in the description where you can buy the book. Thank you for watching. If you want to have more quick insights on how to live a good life, then remember to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when new videos come out.